So, this is the story of Arre Anthu, the turtle monk from a small village. He was perfectly fine guarding the sanctuary, guarding the crystal which kept all the souls of all those who died nearby. See, something had happened in the last 300 years. No one was passing on. Their souls kept getting stuck in crystals. And people would gather to protect these crystals, or, as the blood mages did, to harvest them and use them for their own personal gain. Arre's sister was killed by one of these blood mages searching for the crystals. And so Arre set out, trying to find a way to free his sister from the crystal. Arre came across a group of travelers that he thought might be able to aid him, and through them they traveled to Drogton, a large metropolis of an area. They were there to shop and gain supplies, but they discovered a local blood mage, and this Arre Anthu did not like. Traveling at night, he snuck into their building, which happened to be a future blood mage college. Finding a library, he stole some scripts and burned it. It being the library, I mean. Traveling back, he came to an inn, and there he became a legend. Anthu saw that there was a drinking contest going on. Now, being a monk, his typical drink was only tea. He had never drinking alcohol before. So he thought he'd give it a try, thought he'd lose in the first couple rounds. Well, round after round, he kept going and going, beating one of the reigning champions in this competition, and he became a local legend, which later spread to actually being an actual religion, which is absolutely crazy and completely off topic. The next morning they met in the black market, trying to find some special magical items. So far unsuccessful, but we became friends with one of the local thieves' guilds. Onward they traveled, and this is where the party got split. Anthu walked off into the woods. Holding his sister's crystal in his hand, he meditated and entered a trance-like state in which his spirit actually entered the crystal. There he saw his sister and several other turtles who were guiding and protecting the spirits trapped in them. Trying to guide them away from a large, unspeakable evil, this being the Black Dragon, who was responsible for creating the crystals in the first place. When Arre left, he had to leave his sight, because he had bonded with the crystal just enough that he could not leave with all of his soul, and thus he became blind. Meeting up with the rest of the party, he had found that one of the characters had become turned into some Frankenstein abomination. Not knowing what happened, he feared to guess. He led the party down the woods, off the trail, and came across a pixie that was quite troublesome. Later on, they came across a cliff. Climbing up, they found a cave. Someone was walking along the trail at the edge of the cliff, coming towards them, so they decided to hide in the cave. This was a bad idea, however, because in the cave was a mechanical hydra. Not Okay, it wasn't mechanical. It was a hybrid clockwork actual Hydra. It was both of them. It's quite interesting. They fought and fought, this Hydra crushing Arre's rock familiar, which he had found earlier. It was actually just a normal rock, but he had been fooled into thinking it was an actual familiar. He kept throwing it at things, including the Hydra, who then stepped on it and crushed it. This was foreshadowing, however. Later in the fight, the Hydra, almost dead, decided to slink back into the lake in the middle of the cavern. This lake had magical healing properties, as well as a storage box, which the Hydra would crawl into when it was near death. Arre didn't know this, so he ran into the water, being able to hold his breath for a very long time, and tried attacking it from underneath. Placing the butt of his spear against the ground, the Hydra slowly landed on him, crushing him, just as it did his stone pet. The Hydra, at this point, only had 1 hit point left. Arre could have easily have just stabbed it with his spear and been done with it. But he went for a great show, and went underneath. However, this was his death, because a giant mechanical Hydra weighs roughly several tons, and there's only so much a turtle shell can take. After his companions had left and come back, 3 peach seeds, which were in Arre's pocket when he died, had grown into large, luscious peach trees. This is where they saw Arre's spirit, and he offered them his spear and his guidance. This was the end, as he slowly faded. He was free of both crystal and life. So, for my first video, what do you think? I'm hoping it's good, but, you know, we'll see. Anyways, I'll see you again.